Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is Monday, August the 29th, 2022. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach. And unfortunately, I am not joined by the one and only Josh Crash Davis. He lost his bet, the big Yu Darvish versus Charlie Morton bet, but he is en route with his dad, so I'm fired up for him. He's on his way from Arkansas up till Milwaukee Brewer country. They're going to catch this Brewers series that's going on starting tonight. So he will be on tomorrow, and he did promise that he is going to put the hat aside, and he's going to grace us with that bright bulb of the dome they call the Crash Davis Dome, but he'll be on tomorrow. So if Crash and his dad are out there listening, how's it going, man? How are you? I hope you're traveling safely, and I'm sure everybody's disappointed they didn't get to see the dome today. Everybody has their sunglasses on, and it was for nothing. So save those for tomorrow, and Crash will certainly be back then. Good morning to everybody jumping in early here. I know that we had initially had it posted for an 11 a.m. podcast, so I apologize for that mix up with Crash traveling. It got posted a little bit wonky. So we're 1:30 every day unless there are an early slate that's really a main slate. Like this week, it's Thursday and Sunday. So we'll always be 1:30 p.m. Eastern. This week, because there's an early main slate on Thursday and Sunday, will be at 11 a.m. Eastern on those 2 days. So you can always catch those. If you're a member, go to hashtag podcast schedule. It's there. And then for those that catch us on Twitter, we post the podcast schedule on there as well. So great to see everybody jumping in. MB, I think MB was our 1 week winner of the free membership yesterday, but I did not get any information from him. So correct me if I'm wrong, MB, unless you're not wanting to take us up on that 1 week free membership. But if you do, just tweet us. So that just DM us on Twitter so that we can send you that invite. All we need is your email, first and last name email, and we'll send that to you because I hate for you not to take advantage of that freebie. Excellent. We're at DFS Coach Talk, by the way, MB. So let me say hello to a few folks that have jumped in. Thank you, boy from Cali, for jumping in earlier. He's the one that alerted me, actually, that it was posted for 11. So I appreciate that heads up. He's always coming through for us. JT, what's up, my man? Great to see you back. MB, Niles Simmons, what's up? Let's get some money tonight. Staghorn 68. Derek, love having Derek in here with us. King of Smack, what do we got, my man? Yo, Coach, thanks for getting me off the Texas pitcher. You got it. You know, we're always digging in. I'm just an old scout at heart, and regardless of the sport, especially in basketball, but in baseball too, you can really look down through these systems. There's such good information on ranked players and pitchers, and you get those scouting reports, dig through them, see what their numbers are. So I'm glad that we were able to get you off him because he is not good. There's no question about it. So let's see. Made 6K off your takes. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic, man. That is absolutely fantastic. Congratulations. And thanks for sharing that with us. We'd love to hear it. So let us know if on Twitter too, so we can show you some love there as well. So super happy I got you off that Rangers pitcher, and congratulations on the big win. That's fantastic. Rodney Pollard, hello, my friend. Pain Blanks M, how are you? I'm not sure I always say that right, but I'm doing my best with those. So for those that are in, hello, good morning. It's a Monday. We're excited. This is going to be a great week here at Coach Talk. We have so much stuff going on, from the U.S. Open in tennis that we're covering. Our man Mike S. is covering that. We have a really good NASCAR race this week. MMA's back. we've got Live Golf now taking over for PGA. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention something about PGA because we were in such great shape all week. And then you know me with the nicknames when somebody does me dirty. Shitty Scheffler really showed his complete collapse yesterday. I could not believe it. It looked like, I felt like that on the course several times, but Scheffler's the number one player in the world. I cannot believe how bad he fell apart. But anyway, that was a big buzzkill for our PGA lineups there. But I'm excited for the Live Golf world this week with no PGA distractions. So we will be providing that. Obviously, MLB lineups and information all week. Crash will be giving some live reports up in Milwaukee at that series that he is at. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then getting ready for the NFL. Our man, Stephen Miller, so excited. If you haven't seen him on here yet, he's going to be with Crash doing NFL for us this year. And he is just a huge add to our team here at Coach Talk. We're very, very fortunate to get him. He played college ball to Division I level, big schools, finished up at Arizona State, has a lot of buddies and strength and conditioning guys that he knows in the NFL. So we get a really good insight from somebody that understands the game. And I'll tell you, it's awesome listening to him break down plays, which guards can pull in these type of sets and just stuff beyond, what the normal fan or DFS player really sees out there. So it's going to be a great one. If you want to join us, by the way, it's dfscoachtalk.com. We just put the NFL special up there for a 3-payment plan to make it easier for everybody. So if somebody wants to join, if you join today, you get from now till the start of the NFL for free. So that's the bonus. And then $65 a month for 3 months. You've got your whole NFL and everything that we offer here at Coach Talk paid off. And that goes all the way until January 13th, 2023. So if you want to just grab the whole NFL package, you get a $10 discount. We lowered that price to $185 on our website. And you can do that at DFS Coach Talk. So let's go Colts to the Super Bowl. Okay. You probably get a good Vegas wager on that one. King of Smack. That would be a nice play to make if you can hit it. All right, so big week coming up, all that stuff going on. We have been pretty hot in baseball. Yesterday was a little iffy, on and off. We had a few guys let us down. Wasn't exactly the great slate that I wanted. Snuck by to cash in a few spots, but Saturday was a really nice night. Friday was a huge night for us, so we want to keep some momentum. Interesting card tonight, too. We've got DraftKings, so hat off to DraftKings. They grabbed the 2 640 games on their main slate. So it's 8 games on DraftKings, 6 games on Fanduel and Yahoo. So they don't grab the 2 earlier games. They start at the regular 7:05 time. So we're going to go over all of those. We'll talk about our pay ups and values and fades, all our BVPs, HRs, all the normal stuff that we talk about. We'll break it down game for game as well. Now, weather-wise, only one concern that I have, it's St. Louis, it's Cincinnati, and it's a very important game. St. Louis is a big stack. I like St. Louis today as well. And so we need to watch that weather closely, and that happens to be, early on. So we need to, we will be on that in Discord. We'll be posting radar for the Cincinnati home game there. And then we'll also put that information up on Twitter for those non-members, because that's going to swing how you build that team specifically on DraftKings. So follow those throughout. Everything else looks fine weather-wise, and we'll go from there. So let's dive into this thing and get it going. So the first game is at 640, as mentioned, for DraftKings. These first 2 will not be on the main slate for Fanduel and Yahoo. It's the Los Angeles Dodgers at the Miami Marlins. It is in the Dome in Miami. 7 is the total, 4.26 implied for the Dodgers, 2.74 for the Marlins. Tony Gonsolin, 9.6K for the Dodgers. Pablo Lopez, 8.2K for the Miami Marlins. So interesting game here. Gonsolin, I was on him for the whole first half of the season, got off him for a while there when he was giving up some bombs, but he's back in good graces, and definitely going to consider him as what I'm calling a value play on DraftKings for that slate. He's 9,600, which isn't bad, really considering where he had been before. So it's a little bit of savings up off of some of the top guys. And I think the fact that it's the Marlins that he's going against here, the Marlins struggle against righties. They're 6th in the league in strikeouts as well, 20th in batting average at 239. So great spot for Gonsolin. Certainly not a hitter's ballpark there in Miami. So if you're playing the DraftKings slate, he'll definitely make some of my lineups as the value play. Now I'm gonna, I always, full disclosure here, I normally only build 1 or 2 lineups and I roll with those. I may have 3 or 4 lineups because there's a couple combination of pitchers that I want to use. DraftKings, one of those is Tony Gonsolin as what I consider an SP2 or value play based on the other guys that are on this slate that are more expensive. So that's the only spot I'm looking from that side of it for DraftKings. Obviously not going to go with any Marlins hitting. As far as the Dodgers go, you certainly can get to hitting here. The only problem is it's extremely expensive. And Lopez can be hit or miss. There are times where he gets into a groove where he's decent. I mean, he's a decent major league pitcher, but he's always has the capability of getting blown up. But Betts 6'5", Trey Turner 6'1", Freeman 5'5", Will Smith 5'3". I mean, that you're not going to get a more expensive top 4 in baseball. I think they're even higher than probably the Yankees' top 4 hitters. So that's where it's difficult. So for me, it's not going to be stack the Dodgers for DraftKings because I do want to spend some money on pitching today. I think you have to because there's some standout pitchers and then a huge drop off. So not going to have a lot of Dodgers exposure. Would like to get a couple of one-offs, maybe a Max Muncy, a Gavin Lux. Those guys are at least priced fairly, 4.6 and 3.9. So I'll be picking and choosing a few Dodgers, but nothing super dramatic there. All right, the other 640 DraftKings game is the St. Louis Cardinals and Cincinnati Reds. So again, a big important piece for if you're playing DraftKings because of the weather. So we're watching that close. Right now, it says 58% chance of rain at first pitch. So that is certainly a concern because St. Louis is the runaway, to me anyway, the runaway best stack on the slate. Again, it's not on the Fanduel Yahoo slate, so you only have to worry about it on DraftKings. But man, they're going against Chase Anderson. I don't even know where he's been. I have not seen him pitch. Sure, he's not stretched out. It's the Reds. Their bullpen's terrible. And the Cardinals are just so loaded hitting-wise. So if this game does go, I will, on DraftKings, be stacking the Cardinals. No question about it. It's 84 degrees in Cincinnati. No wind really to speak of. Humid, though, and good chance of rain. So we'll follow that. Massive implied total for the Cardinals at 5.70. Only 3.80 for the Reds, 9.5 in Vegas. So even Vegas sees the Cardinals stacking up some runs here if this game sneaks by weather-wise. So Cardinals stack 3-4 deep on DraftKings for me, no doubt. Miles Mikolas at 8.4K for the Cardinals. Just, one of those average, decent pitchers. You don't jump up and down for. I'm not going to be probably rostering, even though the Reds are not a good team, but the Reds ballpark so conducive to hitting and power. Not sure I'm going to go Mikolas with the other choices. Chase Anderson, a complete fade for me. I don't think he'll go long, and I'll probably get hit. So as far as the Reds go, if you want to play a one-off there, I don't think you'd be doing anything wrong. Certainly, Fraley, if he leads off at only 2.8K, makes perfect sense as a play there. Little happy with Donovan Solano. He had a big game for me on Friday. He's only 3.2K and certainly could be in that cleanup spot. Friedel, that is only 2.1K, the lefty against Mikolas, also a decent play there. So not probably more than a one-off for me on the Cincinnati side, but certainly tons of exposure to the Cardinals on DraftKings. All right, we get into the other 6 games that will make up the main slate everywhere, and the weather's good. Not concerned at all with any weather aspects beyond that. The 7:07 is that first one, Chicago Cubs at Toronto Blue Jays. Totals 9. It looks like roof open, so more runs than usual in Toronto from when they have it closed. 9 is that total, 3.46 implied for the Cubs, 5.54 for the Blue Jays, who are a very popular stack today and deservedly so. They're my favorite stack on Fanduel and Yahoo, and my second favorite stack on DraftKings to the Cardinals if that game plays. It is Javier Assad, who I think is not a good pitcher at all, 5.1K, not sure how deep he goes. Jose Barrios, who has not been anything to write home about really for the Blue Jays since they picked him up, 7.6K on the other side. So let's talk a little bit, since we're jumping right into the stack aspect of things here. Let's talk a little about what we have right now and what it looks like from a stack percentage. Ownership-wise, on DraftKings, St. Louis is about 20% owned. Milwaukee, 14. Philadelphia, 12. Minnesota's coming in at 10. Yankees under 10%, which is surprising, at 8. And then the Blue Jays at 8. So not getting a ton of stack ability here from the Blue Jays on DraftKings, at least at this point, from an ownership standpoint. And I think Toronto is in a terrific spot there. So if it's because people are just diving on St. Louis on DraftKings, I would not sell Toronto short. Let's take a look on FanDuel, where it's going to be certainly a different look without those 2 early games on there. So ownership there, let's see, for ownership share, here we go. We've got the Brewers at 18.5%. So Crash is hopefully going to see the Brewers score some runs. My Blue Jays coming in second at 16.5%. Philly right behind them at almost 16, and Minnesota at 15.5. Everybody else single digits. So it's pretty bunched up for the Fanduel Yahoo main slate. Milwaukee, Toronto, Philly, Minnesota really getting close to the same ownership, but a lot more respect there for Toronto. I'm also going to touch on Yahoo stack and what it looks like there. I've had so much success on Yahoo recently. I'm a big proponent, and I think it makes sense to go there. There's some great things that you can play there, some smaller field stuff that really makes sense. And I think, you should try it out if you haven't. This is where my Blue Jays are the number one stack as of right now, 17%. Phillies at 15, Yankees in double digits on Yahoo at 11.7, because you get a little break price-wise on some of those guys. Milwaukee is fourth there, close behind at 11, and then everybody else bunched up behind them. So that's the way the stack piece is looking for right now. So I feel very comfortable on both sides of those, with my Blue Jays looking pretty good all over the place. Let me take a quick look. I see a lot of activity going on in chat, so that's awesome to see. Let's see. I won the PayPal. Yes, you did, MB. Who else just jumped in? Solo Frey, what's going on? Gonsolin just placed on the IL from what I see. Okay. That changes. That's good. I mean, I'm not that it's good. I mean, I feel bad for Gonsolin and the Dodgers, but if that's the case, that eliminates the one value pitcher there because I have somebody else I'd really rather use. I just didn't want to pass up on Gonsolin in that spot. So we'll follow that, make sure that that's the case. Yeah, Anderson only going 2 or 3 innings. Sean V, I agree. What else we have in here? Let's see. Just those guys chirping a little bit. Good stuff. I love it. I love the talk in here. If you have any questions or anything, let me know. Let's see. Any other questions you guys have? No, nothing yet. All right. Ride with Coach. He's the man. Oh, thanks, King for Smack. I appreciate that. And Sean V as well. You know, you can, I've told people before, you don't have to listen to just one entity, but I do appreciate the support, King of Smack. And we've been pretty hot. We're pretty comfortable rolling here. And we appreciate the time you give us every day. You know, if it's 45 minutes or an hour, we're going to break it down and give you everything we've got to try to help you to be successful. So the more people, the better. And shout out to the other entities too. This is a hard grind, being a DFS provider. If your heart and soul's into it, you work, you know, they're 12, 15-hour days. And it makes you feel great when you see folks pop in here and say, you know, thanks for talking me off. A guy won 6K the other day, like we had somebody in here say here before. Was it Staghorn? Who was it that had the big hit? You know, that's what I do this for. I absolutely love it. So appreciate everybody that's in here and keep that going. If I'm going to stack Toronto, who are the guys I like? I'll go over that when I go on that game. I'll tell you a few of the guys that stand out to me. And they're definitely my favorite stack for the main slate. On Fanduel and Yahoo. St. Louis still, to me, it's going to be hard to beat that stack if that game plays. All right, back to the board here. Let's go to, okay, the Blue Jays. Before I go from that game, because I'm on it right now, who do I like there? All right, you've got, there's some money to be spent, but you can get away in a few spots if you don't go at the top. Here's the, you know, Springer, Guerrero, 5.7, 5.8. It's a big commitment, but, you know, you can't stack Toronto and St. Louis, the main guys, Goldschmidt, Arenado, and then try to come back with Springer, Guerrero. Never going to work. But if you're just on FanDuel or Yahoo, then I'm going to spend up for these guys. I like Springer, Guerrero. Gurriel is, you know, he's only 4.4. He just doesn't hit that much. I mean, I'm not a big fan. It's great to have him as the cheaper guy in a stack. So he tends to make a lot of my stacks when I do stack the Blue Jays, but he's not that much fun to watch because he just doesn't hit that much. Kirk's up to 5.1. I liked him better when he was in the 4s. Bichette at 5.4 too. He's been super inconsistent. So, and Teoscar's got moved down to 6th. So for me, I like the very top of it to answer your question, Springer, Guerrero. And then I like going cheap here. Try a little wraparound stack. Chapman 5.2, maybe even Espinal at 2.9. Not Jackie Bradley, not going to go there. But if you do want to go there as your 2K buy down, it is against Assad. He is a lefty. Had a couple hits the other day, but Bradley is not good at the plate. So maybe a 7-8-1-2 kind of thing is what I'm initially building out with the Blue Jays. Maybe Kirk in there as well, just because catchers are tough to fill. Not on FanDuel where you want to play a first baseman, but certainly Yahoo, and Kirk's always priced right on Yahoo as well. All right, next game. Boston Red Sox, Minnesota Twins. I know Minnesota's, like I mentioned before, getting a lot of love in the stacks. They're in the top 5 or 6 stacks pretty much across the board. But this is where I'm going with my value pitcher of the day and somewhat my contrarian call of the day. I like this youngster, Brian Balo. He's very highly regarded in the Boston ranks coming up. A very top prospect. They brought him up a little early. He wasn't quite ready. He did get bombed around. There's no question about it. But he's showing signs, and he's got the stuff. If you really dig into his numbers, he gets some strikeouts, and he's just a fantastic ground ball pitcher. So when he does get men on base, he can find a way to get out of it. And he's close to really busting out. His last start was very impressive. He went against the Blue Jays. He got 5 innings in there, only 2 earned runs, struck out 7, 30 Fanduel points. I mean, that's his first really good step up I can pitch at this level. So as a young pitcher with all that promise, I think this is where maybe he finishes this season out, showing what he's made of. And I think he's going to be a terrific pitcher for them down the road. So I like him in this matchup today. Minnesota is super inconsistent. I don't trust them that much. They're only batting. Let's see. What are they? I want to say Balo's price is so cheap. 5,600 on DraftKings, 6,000 on FanDuel, and $25 on Yahoo. So if you do use them as your SP2, like I'm going to today, in a lot of spots that I play, it really allows you to those bats. It lets you get some Blue Jays mixed with Cardinals and a couple of Yankees, because you're literally saving $5-6 grand that you can put right directly into hitting. Now, is there risk there? Absolutely. There's no question about it. I mean, he's a youngster that's unproven. He's got a big ERA, but I think I see signs of him stepping in the right direction here. I think what happened was he got sent down. He went down to the minors for a couple of weeks. That has a tendency to get young players' attention real fast. Like, oh no, hell no, I don't want to go back down here again. I want to be, in the big show. And he stepped back up with against Toronto and pitched great. And I think he can do that against Minnesota today. So he's not super highly owned. Let's jump into pitching ownership, see where we stand there, because I think it could be a really key to getting a lot of guys in that you'd like to today. So right now, pitching, we know domination by Corbin Burnes, and deservedly so. He's 57% owned right now on DraftKings. So 59% is what it looks like it's going to be here is a big number. 37% Montas, 24% Rodon, 22% Berrios. I think that's way too low for Rodon personally. But if you go all the way down, Balo's only 3% projection on DraftKings. And again, at that price, it's like a free square if he can pitch decent. He doesn't need to get the massive points. But here's my question to you. And this is the decision you have to make, especially if you're playing cash. For me, I think it goes Burnes and Rodon, and then I see a massive drop-off. I am not crazy about Frankie Montas. I'm not sure why he's getting as much ownership. He's been inconsistent. I know the Angels strike out, but that's a hitter's ballpark. They have Trout and Ohtani in there. I don't trust Montas as far as I can throw him. So he's definitely one of my fade pitchers today. And how he's getting more ownership than Rodon in some of these spots is nuts to me. So the really strong play, if you want to go with Rodon and Burnes, personally, absolutely. Those two should be, in my opinion, the top 2 scorers in DFS tonight. And that's a great way to start your lineup. However, that is going to completely handcuff that strategy of stacking, St. Louis on DraftKings, and then FanDuel. It's going to hurt you when you're trying to get in these Blue Jays and Yankees. So that's a decision you have to make. I'll be playing a combination of Burnes, Rodon, and Balo is going to be my SP2, especially now that Gonsolin is out. Those will be the three pitchers I'm using. And obviously, I'm going to have massively different builds where I'm using Balo as my second guy in. So that was a projection for pitching on DraftKings. On Fanduel, it's a little bit different. Let's sort it and get the latest here, because it shifts around for sure. Some of it has to do with the pricing. Certainly some of it has to do with the build. Obviously, we've got massive favoritism to Burns again. And again, I see it. It makes sense. He's 42% owned, somewhere in there we're looking at. Montas at 17, Rodon only at 15. I mean, it's in San Fran. It's Rodon. I'm not sure. I guess people are afraid of the Padres bats. And I understand that, but San Diego versus lefties are seventh in the league in strikeouts. And, Rodon is 10-9, 11K, and 51. So I know he's a little pricey, but Burns at 10-4, 11-1, and 55, same boat. So again, if you pay up for those two, it's going to be hard getting any decent hitting. But if you go down to Balo as the super, I get it, risky, but cheap, 5,600, 6,000, and 25. You pretty much can bat anybody you want. So that's the real combo I'm going to have there. On FanDuel, by the way, to finish that out, you've got Berrios at 12%. Everybody else super low percentage there. My man Balo not getting any respect there either. So I'm going to try to look on Yahoo as well, since I'm loving Yahoo lately. They are paying the piper. Burns 55%. A little more sensible here. Rodon almost 40%. Now that makes sense to me. Montas 36. So Montas is going to be popular. Certainly not going to be my play tonight. Berrios at 20. Ranger Suarez, another guy that I'm afraid of tonight. I'll talk about that when I get to that game. Clevenger grabbing some ownership, which he's been really bad, but San Fran has not been hitting. And then here, Balo, they have it 9%. At least he's getting a little action at that min price of $25 on Yahoo. All right, checking in real quickly. It's so much better when Crash or Deb's on here with me, because I don't have enough eyes to look at everything. Zachary, how you doing, man? Glad you're in there. Let's see, just people talking. May do okay for his price, King of Smack. Yeah, I mean, doesn't come without risk, but certainly, when you look at the bats you're going to be able to get, it's going to be, it would be really nice to be able to stack some of those big guys up there. Niles, I think I said hello to. MB. Look forward to having you in there, MB. He's saying St. Louis Cincy game should be clear of weather. Okay, I hope that's the case, because that'll definitely affect my build on DraftKings for that, with that game being at 640. So we're going to follow that closely. Thank you for the updates there. All right, back to the board. Let's see where we're at here. Let's go to the game that Mr. Crash himself will be at here. Let's talk a little bit more about Boston, Minnesota. I want to say something there. Again, Balo, it's 8.5, the total there, 76 degrees, wind blowing out to right, 13 miles an hour in Minnesota. So really a nice, warm game there. Don't like that the wind's blowing out, but it's not that bad. 4.12 implied for the Red Sox, 4.38 for Minnesota. My man Balo, 5.6K against Dylan Bundy, 6.4K. As far as the bats here, obviously, again, I generally don't go, when I have a pitcher rostered, I don't go any sticks on the other side. Just not my style or my mojo of what I like to do. For Boston, I think you can get to some bats here without question. I think Devers is a great play. Rafael Devers, whatever. 5.8K, though, stings. But as a one-off against Bundy, we know he's given up a lot of homers throughout his career. But you've got stackability here. Pham at 4-7, Verdugo at 3-5. I really like in the 2-hole. Bogarts, who happens to be my HR call today. I like Xander Bogarts. He's 5.2K. I think he takes Bundy deep today. I like him in this matchup. Where I don't stack maybe a Blue Jay or Yankees group where I have Balo as the cheap entity, I'd love to have Bogarts and Devers together. That's 11K between two guys, though. So it's difficult, but it's going to be pretty contrarian because not too many people are going to be able to have that stack. And you can have with Verdugo ahead of him at 3-5 or JD Martinez right behind them at 4-2. Trevor Story is expected back today. That's another reason why I like Boston as a sneaky stack today. You've got him at 4.8K, it's right off the DL. A little pricey, but, if you're not a bad guy to include in a stack, obviously, he's ready to go and has been taking BP. So certainly a guy that won't get as much ownership as you would think. So Boston bats tonight, 76 degrees in Minnesota. I like that hitting weather. Hopefully Balo, with all the ground balls that he induces, won't be concerned about those fly balls to right. All right, 8-10. We've got the Pirates and Brewers in Milwaukee. It is a 7.5 total. 2.44 is all for the Pirates. 5.06 for the Brewers. Robert Stevenson, certainly a guy you can stack against, a youngster from the Pirates organization. Spot start for them. He's the min 4K. Don't play him. Even though Milwaukee's not crushing the ball, I would not go to Stevenson. I don't like his minor league stuff. Don't think he'll go deep at all. Like somebody even mentioned, I think here, he's probably just going to be more of a placeholder starter kind of thing. So Milwaukee certainly stackable with that information. Pirates bullpen's not good either. And the good thing about if you do stack the Brewers is they're pretty cheap. Yelich at 4-1. Roundy Tellez at 3.9 in the 3-hole. I can call him Roundy again because I played him this weekend. He only had 3 points total in that game. McCutchen 3-7, Renfroe 4, Colton Wong if he gets in there at 3-1, Urias 3-5. So lots of cheap options there against this crappy Pirates pitching staff. So another option you can go, or as the secondary stack to a St. Louis or Yankees or Red Sox or one of the other stacks you're using. I think Milwaukee is going to have a lot of ownership. You saw that when we read through the stack percentages, and deservedly so. On the other side, Corbin Burns, probably the safest, best play on the slate, pitching wise. His price is not bad. Like I said, 10-4, 11-1, and 55. I mean, it's not giveaway, but it's not like we saw some, with the DeGroms and some of those guys this weekend that were 12-3 and 11-8, so you can get away with it. And, the question is, do you play Burns and Rodon together as your buy-ups and then find hitting? That's certainly one strategy. I'll have a lineup with that, but more than likely, as I mentioned, I'm going to go with a cheap SP2, and I'll have a lineup that's headed up by Burns for sure, and I'll have one headed up by Rodon. I don't think the split that's being shown in all the projections right now between Burns and Rodon is that wide. And from a leverage standpoint, my guess, $5 for you if you're listening, the leverage standpoint, it makes me want to play Rodon as much as I do Burns. Now, I said that with Verlander and Scherzer yesterday, and went Verlander more so because of that exact reason, and he got hurt. We still kept min cash, believe it or not, on FanDuel, even with Verlander getting hurt. So, that really doesn't count, but that was my thinking there. And it's a similar scenario here for me with Burns and Rodon. I do think Burns is terrific, though, hard to pass up against a terrible Pirates team. I could read you all their numbers. They can't hit. They strike out a ton, on down the road. So Burns certainly deserved of a lot of ownership here, and he's going to get it. That's for damn sure. Next one is 9:38. So we have 3 games sort of in that early slot if you're on Fanduel or Yahoo, 5 games on DraftKings. And then if you're playing after hours, now you got 3 games on the late slate as well that are part of that full slate. So a lot of good baseball action, even though there's only 8 games that we're working with. It's the Yankees and Angels in LA. Good hitting stadium, 75 degrees, wind blowing out to center at 8 miles an hour, very comfortable. Only an 8 total in Vegas, so respectable there. I think it's a little low. 4.58 for the Yankees, 3.42 for the Angels. Frankie Montas, 7.2K, grabbing a bunch of ownership all over the place. Jose Suarez, the lefty, at 6.9K for the Angels. I like hitting in this game. I don't care for either pitcher. One of my Boom Fantasy plays is over in this game. I think you're going to see some runs from both sides here. Yankees bullpen's a little short right now. I guess their big fella had an infected tattoo. For some reason his name is escaping me. Put it in chat for me so I don't lose my mind here. But their big Chapman, I got it before we even saw it in there. But I guess he had a tattoo done and it got infected, so it's not cool. -9 leverage. Yeah, I'm reading everything in here. I'm with you guys. You're following it with what I'm saying. I agree, but neither, both bullpens are suspect, I think, even though the Yankees do have some good bodies, but they're a little shorthanded. And I think you can get to a ton of guys here. My home run call for today is Shohei Ohtani. He's 6'3". So I know probably, again, I can't stand listening to the pods where people give out like 25 guys and they're all like the 25 most expensive guys on the slate. I think it's just BS. So I don't, where I can use a Shohei Ohtani at 6.3K, I'm not going to obviously be able to use the top 2 bats in Toronto, where Springer and Guerrero and additional guys from the Cardinals or Blue Jays meet of their lineup. It's going to be a mixture. And where I have the cheap SP2, I'm going to be able to stack some of these guys. And where I don't, I'm going to have to be a little bit more particular. But I really like Ohtani today because, again, I think so many people are rostering Montas that you're going to get less ownership on Trout and Ohtani. And I like Ohtani to go deep. He's almost $1,000 more expensive than Trout. So I think as people go to push that button, they're going to go to Trout rather than him, if they do at all, because they're playing Montas. So I think we're going to get him super low owned, and I think he takes Montas deep. I really like him today. He's my home run call, and he'll be in most of my lineups, even though it's going to cost an arm and a leg. I really do think it's worth it. And I like the fact that the Yankees are a little shorthanded in the bullpen. That helps. So hitting wise, you can go all over the board here. LeMahieu leading off at 4.6 more than likely is a good price. Judge, obviously, you can always put Judge into any builds. Stanton at 5.2, but then you can start getting some really cheap prices for Yankees, I think. 3.8 for Torres, 4K for Donaldson, 3.9 for Benintendi. I mean, those guys are all extremely playable. And if you want to get real deep on the Yankee stack, Trevino 3.1, IKF at 2.9, and Cabrera, the rookie, at 2.3. Not the worst plays in the world. I mean, Jose Suarez is not good. Their bullpen is not good. Suarez is certainly not the worst pitcher on the slate, but it's the Yankees, and they have all that right-handed power against them, and the ball does carry in that stadium in LA. So load me up with some Yankees. Give me Ohtani and maybe a one-off, because I can go one-off with the Angels lower in that lineup and get dirt cheap, like a Stassi if I want to really go down catching-wise at 2.8, Ford's 2K, Adele's 2K. So you can, even in the middle of the order, Taylor Ward at 3.6 is a good price. So I'll have some exposure hitting-wise in that game in LA. 2 games left, 9:40, Philadelphia at Arizona. Phillies are getting stacked up a lot too today. Their people are going to the Phillies, and it's deserved. Interesting here. This game is in the Dome in Arizona. It'll be closed, humidor on. Ball doesn't carry that great, but these pitchers are not very good. Vegas has set it at a fair number, 8.5. 4.86 implied for the Phillies, 3.64 for the D-backs. 2 lefties. Ranger Suarez, who we've played and had a lot of success with, is 8.8K. Madison Bumgarner, 6.7K, but has to face the Phillies here. I don't like either pitcher in this spot. I'm fading Suarez. I mean, he's 8,800, 9,400, and 41, so he's not cheap anymore. And I think the Diamondbacks can get to him. Some of the righties, I think their lineup could be Kelly, Rivera, Marte, Walker, this youngster Stone Garrett, who he's going to be a nice player. That might be a nice little one-off for the last man in at 2.2K, by the way. So in other words, they have a bunch of righties at the top of that lineup, and it just feels to me like a bit of a letdown game for Suarez, and he's not a massive strikeout pitcher anyway. So I'm not going either side there as far as pitching. I'll probably be a little under the ownership numbers on the Phillies, although they have some fantastic right-handed power here. Hoskins and Bohm, 2-3, would be the 2 guys that I'm most interested in. Probably a one-off there. I'm not going to spend the massive dollars, though, for Schwarber or Harper in this one. Just, with the lefty on the mound, and, when they go to the bullpen, they'll be bringing lefties in to face those guys. I think, Real Muto is a little too expensive as well, 5.7. And then Castellanos, I just don't trust. When I play him, he's just so hit or miss. So really for me, it'll be more of a one-off. I'd love to have Hoskins and Bohm, but I don't think I'm going to be able to afford both of them. On the Diamondbacks, like I say, any of those top 5 guys, there's some dirt cheap players there. I don't think it's a bad play. If you're filling in with some of the big bats and you want to throw in, a cheaper guy that's going to get probably 4 or 5 at bats minimum, then you may want to go with some guys at the top of that D-backs lineup. All right, we have 1 game left. And before I get to that, let me just check in chat. It's so hard to watch chat and do everything at the same time. Buxton is out, I think, for the year. Polanco's out. That's the other reasons I don't like that Minnesota lineup. So, Coach, what franchise do you think puts the worst product on the field? Oh, it's not even close. Oakland A's. They should be kicked out of the league, forced to move. The Oakland A's are an absolute travesty. They get rid of every player. Their stadium is just garbage. It's really sad that they're even allowed to do that. That wouldn't happen in the NFL or leagues where they have some power owners that wouldn't allow that to happen. So to me, it's runaway Oakland A's. I think they're a travesty to Major League Baseball. How's it going, Absolute Power? How are you, man? Who else is there? Anybody else jump in? We have a decent amount of folks in here today, our regulars. Really appreciate all of you. Can't tell you how much it means to me to have you joining in here. We had a massive amount in here yesterday, so we want to keep building on that. And as football comes around, we know we get a lot of extra viewers for football. And then for basketball, which, we're known a lot for NBA, we hope that we can carry these live pods. We've never done a live pod for the NBA. We just started it during baseball. So I think we've got some fun things ahead. If you wouldn't mind, if you haven't already, hit the thumbs up here. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and click the little alert in the upper corner. That little alarm will let you know anytime any of our podcasts post. And we're going to be going live with podcasts in those sports I just mentioned. And you're going to want to know when those go live so you can get in here, chat with some of the other people sharing some victories and definitely build along with us. And believe me, I don't care how big we get or how much we grow. I am always going to take time to answer every question. And if I do somehow miss a question in here, DM me at Joe Sarvati. You see it right below me there on Twitter. I don't believe I've ever missed a question. That's what I pride myself on. I want to get back to everybody. And so anything I can do to help, just let me know. But if you're on Twitter, certainly follow us, retweet. We really do appreciate that. Boom Fantasy, this is their big launch week. We have all kinds of things coming out. So follow us closely on Twitter at DFS Coach Talk. Follow us everywhere we are, because TikTok as well. I'm Coach Talk, and then we're DFS Coach Talk also on TikTok, because we're going to have some giveaways, some free plays. Boom Fantasy is going to have an incredible ton of things that you can play. All of the prop plays on down the road. So we'll be announcing those as this week goes on. All right. Let me review a few things before we get to this last game. So my pay-up pitchers are Burns and Rodon. No shit. But that, you know what? I get it. But those are the two guys. Those are the two guys. As I've mentioned multiple times, I'm putting a lot of hope in this youngster, Brian Bayo from Boston. Really looking for him to get it done. Fading Suarez, fading Montas. My BVP play is Bogarts. I want to give you Bogarts and Ohtani against these guys, just so you know I'm not full of baloney here. Bogarts is 14 for 39 against Dylan Bundy. That's a cool 359. He's got 8 extra base hits, 3 homers, an 1162 OPS, 718 slugging, 444 OBP, and that 359 average. So Bogarts hits Bundy. My home run call, who I think because of his big price is going to be extremely under-owned, he's 9 for 21 against Frankie Montas. That's 429 for the MVP, Shohei. 3 of those are home runs, 9 ribbies. He's walked 6 times. So he's got this guy where he wants him. 1413 OPS, 857 slugging, 556 OBP, and that 429 average. So at that big number, I think 6,300 on DraftKings, people aren't going to grab him. And he could be a slate shifter. That's what I'm hoping for with Shohei here tonight. All right, back to this last game, and then we'll let everybody get on their way. It is the Padres and the Giants. Only 59 degrees in San Francisco. Sounds like pitching weather to me. So why people are downgrading Rodon, I guess, because you have a lineup with Soto and Machado. I get it, but it's swirling wind there, upper 50s, perfect pitching weather. Vegas has it as a 7 total, so they respect this as well. 3.32 implied for the Padres, 3.68 for the Giants. Mike Clevenger has not been good. He's at 8K. He's capable, especially in those conditions, and San Fran does not hit very well. So I don't think Clevenger is the worst play. I'm not going to get there, but I can understand if you do. But Rodon at that 10-9 number, he's 11 flat on Fanduel and 51 on Yahoo. Here's the thing. He pitched against San Diego on July 9th. How about a 70 burger? Yeah, 70. 70 Fanduel points on July 9th against this Padres team. Yeah, I know, Soto and everything, all of that stuff maybe not in place, whatever. I don't care. That's no joke. And Rodon is good. San Diego versus lefties, 7th in the league in strikeouts too. So I still love Rodon. He's on an even plane with me with Burns. I totally respect both of them. And I definitely will have some cash exposure to both of those guys because I think they're going to be 1-2. If they're not 1-2 in DFS flat score today, I'd be shocked. I really would. But it's all leverage and it's all what can you afford by going with a cheaper SP2? Hitting wise, again, with Rodon being, on my top of my list, I'm not going any of the hitters from the Padres. Really Soto and Machado, granted, they're fantastic hitters, but there's a lot of guys struggling in that lineup. Kim, if he's leading off, Drury's not been the guy they wanted to pick up. He's had a few spots. Bell's been very inconsistent. And then the guys at the bottom, like if it's Myers, Profar, Nola, Azakar, that does not strike fear into me. So yes, Rodon has to get past Soto and Machado, but after that, I think he's in a good spot, especially in that stadium where we know the ball I've seen balls hit to center field there that look like they came out of a cannon, and it's a can of corn on the warning track. So I feel pretty good about him today. I think he's getting disrespect a little bit. Joe K, what's up, man? Thank you for joining. I think Joe K joined yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. I try to remember everybody that comes aboard and try to greet all of them. And if it was you, Joe K, anybody that becomes a member here, if you'd like to spend however much time you want one-on-one with me, we'll talk strategy, go over contest selection. I love doing that with every member, so they sort of get in my head and understand when I'm making these discussions and choices, they know, where I'm coming from. So if it is you, Joe, or if it's a different Joe, whatever, give me a shout. All right. What else? Any other final questions that are in here? I don't see a whole lot. I love to see the fact that you guys are chatting it up. We have to learn from each other. This is a tough world. There's only 38 of you in here right now, which is still awesome. That's a lot of people. It's a Monday and it's the middle of the day. So I appreciate all of you in here, but the fact, we're almost up to 40 now. That's fantastic. So it's great to share in here, giving this information to each other, helping us all get better, and seeing some of those DFS Coach Talk badges on the leaderboards. That is really fantastic to me. And so that's what we're in here. Don't be afraid to share it, that information, so we can all get better. And, if you want to call me out on any numbers, anytime, anything you want to throw up in here, I'm happy to bounce back and give you my reasoning behind it. And certainly can be talked off things too, if everybody's in agreement. So although I am pretty stubborn, I have to say, I do my preparation and I usually stand with it. So for the members, that was sort of a joke, because Saturday I had given up on Yu Darvish, by the way. And the first inning, he was 31 pitches in, 3 earned runs, and I waved the white flag like a big baby. And you ended up sucking it up, getting 40 FanDuel points and pitching 6 innings. So, and we cashed. So anyway, it doesn't pay off to quit on any lineup. It really doesn't. So hopefully we're going to kill it today. My PrizePicks plays today, I'll give you 3 of them. Rodon over 39.5 fantasy score. Bogarts over 7.5 fantasy score. And Corbin Burns over 7.5 strikeouts. Those are my 3 PrizePicks plays of the day. I think you can fire up there, and I can't wait till we can get those up on Boom Fantasy. They're just waiting for final approval from Apple. It should be any day now, and that app will launch this week, and we'll be able to fire up some really good contests there as well. All right, as far as my plays today for Boom Fantasy, the 2 wagers, I mentioned I like the over in the Yankees-Angels game. That is set at 8. Also, I like the Boston Red Sox and plus 104 at Minnesota, my man Brian Balo. So his name is weird spelling and weird pronunciations, but you know what? I'll call him whatever he wants as long as he can twirl about 6 shutout innings for me today. We'll call him champion if he can do that for us. All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate all of you. I think that wraps it up. We're right square at an hour. That's pretty much where I try to cut it off because I know everybody's busy today. But that gives you the full rundown on all the games. Again, the only weather situation is St. Louis at Cincinnati, but we had somebody here close by that area saying it looks like it's going to be fine. So don't be afraid to stack up those Cardinals in that DraftKings main slate. All right. If you have any questions, certainly look us up at DFS Coach Talk. You can tweet me directly at Joe Sarvati. And tomorrow we will be back with Crash, no hat, the bald dome, paying off his Charlie Morton bet. So you want to have the sunglasses. Tune in tomorrow. He's going to be in Milwaukee tomorrow. So we'll get bird's eye view what's going on there. Thank you, MB. Make sure you tweet me your email address so we can get you in Coach Talk this week. And we'll have some more giveaways coming this weekend. So have a great day, everybody, and absolutely crush it. We'll certainly be back tomorrow when we're looking to just take everything down on DFS, Fanduel, DraftKings, PrizePicks, Yahoo, and Boom Fantasy.